Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the stunning track of Daytona. And we're in for an absolute banger of a race here. This is Season 3 of the Raceface.Pro GT3 iRacing. This is our Pro Division, and we are here at the stunning Daytona racetrack. Glad to have everyone. A big warm welcome. A happy 2024 to you all, as we're going to be having a brilliant time. My name is Stephen Koenig. Thank you very much for joining us in the box, and we're going to have an exciting one. So we've got Tim on the cameras, we've got Jim, who is going to be on our comms, ensuring that the race is happening. So round one at Daytona, our Pro Division out on track, starting off their qualifying, and we're going to see how that's currently progressing as drivers are starting to lay down the quick lap times. Luke Lucchesi out in the top spot at the moment, going and putting in a 1:43.648. Julian Familiaris tying up 0.010 in second place. So it's going to be absolutely phenomenal there. A new driver coming into the mix is Gianluca Fabio. So all the way out from Italy. A fantastic run. It is going to be a stunning race for him. So good to see some Italians coming into the mix, and Julian Familiaris rejoining into the mix in now a Mustang, trying out something a little bit different. Ryan Otten's out in 5th place for the Alpha 1 Esports, still going and having a ton of fun out there. Done really well overseas. Byron Mitchell switching out from his usual cars, going into a front engine Mercedes to launch his way to the top. Curious to see how it's all going to work out. Robin Brignick going and charge his way through. A new driver also all the way out from the Netherlands and looking to make his way through. A little bit further down is Rindetoy from the likes of the Slowpokes, and trust me, these are definitely no Slowpokes. You can call them a bit of a spud once or twice, but Rindetoy is definitely one to keep an eye out for. Werner Skuman out on track as well, and all the way from the Pandacity team, and this, I see he's put himself into the gas holes, but he is from the Pandacity team, looking to really put himself out there. Justin Elof, though, goes and stands on the top with the first place. Henry Mayer puts himself into second place, so Henry Mayer's not backing down from this, and he is ensuring he stays in for the mix. Henry Mayer actually doing a bit of a jump in teams. Originally was part of the Martian Racing, then moved over to the Logistical Nightmare Racing team. Whoop, maybe I went to let the cat out of the bag a little bit early. Well, Paul Fentz will definitely let me know on that one. So, we'll have to see how that works out. Yuri Swart in the brand new Acura NSX, also the Honda NSX for those that are on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Keep an eye out on that car. Twin turbo, and is a huge amount of fun, but unfortunately, due to the latest BOP, it does taper it down a little bit in terms of power. Gianluca Fabio out in first place, going and putting in the quick lap time of 1:43.4, so not backing down from this one. It does tell you the drivers are really looking to put in those great lap times, and as we can see, time's starting to roll in. So a couple of other new drivers that are lurking around, other than Bego Krobler, Robin Brignick, who we spoke about a little bit earlier, Sean Stradham going and returning to the track, Phil and Killer, keep an eye out on him as well, and Sergei Sarkov coming into the mix. Fleming Bauer, Jans van Rensburg, Cabello Matsumai making his return, Sean Sims, Noah Hendricks, Werner Swart, Yassin Ishmael, and Nico Kellerman coming in 23rd, Yasso Mai in 24th, and Daniel Rowe in 25th. He's actually taken a bit of a jump. A couple of drivers that haven't got a time on the board. Jason Kutsi, along with Steven Kutzer, Gerard Vermillion. Mario Raz is also needing to get a time out on the board, but we are starting to see some big moves and big gains at the moment. Byron Mitchell up into second place, a 1:43.4, while Gianluca sitting with that 1:43.472 at the moment, only separated by 900th of a second between them. So this is absolutely going in for a proper banger. Well, Yuri Swart in the little Honda, well, the Acura NSX, a 1:43.4. That is our quickest. And Gianluca going and doing a 1:43.472. Byron Mitchell, 1:43.4. Justin Nieloff for 143 as well. We've got 143s all the way down right till 13th position. So until 13th position, everyone's within a second of one another, folks. And that is how quick these drivers have become during the off-season. They've really stepped up the game, and it's looking to be an absolute banger of a race. And can I tell you, we're sitting with about 30 drivers, going on my counting now, really bad at that. But we've also got 30 drivers in our Pro-Am. They're racing simultaneously at current. They will be having a broadcast after this, so that will go out, so make sure you keep an eye out on the channel. Another driver out there, Justin Nieloff, we spoke about him. Beautiful livery of Japanese styling on the car. He's looking to really put himself out there. And currently, Robin Bricknick going and utilizing everything he can to really get himself up through the mix. Julian Familiar is trying to also claw his way back. Taking a look to our virtual grandstands. Yes, it's always great to see our virtual grandstands coming alive. We've got Krista Santos, Niall Baliun, Ryan G, we got Paul Fenter, Vietia Buerta, so many people out there in the grandstands. Absolutely love it. But Scorpion 78 was the first one out, and also Jacques Saber, who is usually one of our drivers, going and just saying, how's it? Let's get going and have a bit of fun. So good to see there's a bit of a race going out there. Good to see that you're all returning and hopefully had a fantastic time, because this is going to be a bit of a wild season. We have had a few little changes. If anyone remembers season 2, we had that split heat system. Well, that's gone. People wanted a little bit of a longer race. So we catered, we made it happen. And we will be going racing with something a little bit more interesting at current as qualifying comes to a close, and we will be heading into the race. So a 90-minute race will be a 45-minute race will be had, and then we've got a 90-minute in our grand finale. So that is going to be an exciting one nonetheless. So let's take a look at our grid. Yurion Piswat will be starting out in first place. Gianluca Fabio, Byron Mitchell, Justin Nieloff, Robin Bricknick, along with Luke Lucchesi, Henry Mayer, Ryan Ottens, Julian Familiaris, Bego Hrobler, Florian Killer, and Daniel Rowe a little bit further down. Going through the rest of the field, we have got Sean Straden, Ruan de Toy, Jean Jans van Rensburg, Werner Skuman, Fleming Bauer, Sturgo Sarkov, Luca Logovic, Cabela Matsamai, Werner Swart, Sean Sims, Stephen Kutzer, and Noah Hendricks in 24th. Going beyond that, we've got Yasin Ismail in 25th, along with Mario Raz, Nico Kellerman, Yaz Samai, Jason Kutsi, and Gerald Vermillion rounding out our pack. 30th position. Unfortunately, wasn't able to put a time on the board. So, while our cars getting ready to line up, we have got our Porsche safety car out this time around. The BMW has been parked. It's had more than enough time around the circuit, going and doing the 24 hours. So we've gone back to the good old trusty Porsche to guide us through this. Bit of a stacked field out there, and a bit of an interesting one nonetheless for our drivers to see what they can do. And with a mandatory pit stop, that's going to really dictate it. So we're going to have to keep an eye on pit stop strategies of who's going to be able to claw their way through. So it is going to be a short formation lap for our drivers to be able to get going and see who's going to be able to take it to the top. Yurion Piswat, Gianluca Fabio next to one another. It is South Africa versus Italy at current. It is Honda, well, Akari, which is a Japanese manufacturer, lining up against the good old Germans. And it is turbocharged against naturally aspirated, leading out the pack of this exciting field. And it is a stacked Porsche field, that is for certain. Don't lose the slipstream is the best advice that's going down there. But we're about to see a whole lot of racing so quickly as we are ready to go. Everyone trying to do a bit of a warm-up on their tires, moving left to right, getting them ready, leaning on the brakes a little bit just to try and heat up those brakes, get the heat soaking into the rims, and then eventually into the tires itself as they get ready to go. So, as we wait for the safety car to go around. You see a little bit of a backup though to slow things down. Leonardo going and cheering on in the virtual grandstands. You can see it all going alive. They're absolutely great, but we're waiting for the green. Yuri Swat dictating the pace, and lights on. We are racing for round 1 of the Raceface.Pro iRacing. And take a look at Byron Mitchell taking the apron, gets the inside line, and is long since checked out. Byron Mitchell gets the jump on the entirety of the field. Justin Illoff goes in, tags in as well. Uriam Swan trying to go for a little bit of a defense, could not hold it. He's going to try and go for the inside line, launches 3 wide, couldn't get it sorted out, and Justin stuck on the outside, gets on the throttle, trying to power his way through, but Byron Mitchell, what a start from him, getting a huge jump. Henry Mayer down into 4th place with Julian Familiar. Oh no! What happened to Henry Mayer? The back snapped out. He is gone. He's checked out of it. Oh no, and it does look like a bit of chaos at the back with a few drivers. Yes, and Mike getting caught into it as well. And we did see what looked to be Bago Krubler in the background getting caught out. So quite a few drivers. Florian Keller got taken out there as well. So that has not worked out in his favor. Let's quickly go back to the Henry Mayer and see what's gone on. So this is on board with Henry Mayer. We're going to try and see what happened to him. And it looks like just got out of shape. Oh man, he looked like he took a bit of impact there. Came across, all looked fine, and the impact is actually from other drivers going and having a little bit of a scuffle with one another. Henry Mayer trying to come back onto track safely. So I think a few drivers, unfortunately, took a bit of a hit early on in the running. So not ideal circumstances there, and caught out. Back up to the sharp end of the field though, Byron Mitchell with Justin Eloff looking on the inside, and Uriam Swat sitting in the mix. Side by side they go, and it's a Porsche that dives up. Oh, Byron Mitchell loses it. He is parked in turn 1, able to get it all squared up, but unfortunately a little bit of contact, and that might have been Gianluca that took the hit. Yes, it was. Luke Lucchese going to go around the outside, capitalizing. Robin trying to go a little bit more defensive on the inside. Runs him out wide and gets him right to the fringe of the circuit there. Ryan Ottens up into 7th position. Oh no, a contact between Robin, and it does look like Luke Lucchese. Byron Mitchell getting caught up there. So Luke Lucchese now trying to go and make up a bit of ground. Unfortunate to see it, but it has happened, and now we've got to try and figure out how the drivers are going to be able to pull their way through. Remember, they do have a mandatory pit stop that needs to be done. They do have fast repairs, which means there's plenty of spares in the pits to get those cars sorted, and any damage to those means that you have got a problem of note with your top end, as Byron Mitchell's feeling it with Ruan de Toy, now starting to open up the gap to him. Back up to the front though, Justin Eloff breaking away from the pack with Yuri Swat. Julian Familiaris now in 3rd, followed by Gianluca Fabio, Ryan Ottens, Luke Lucchese, and Ruan de Toy right onto the back of him, and it is going to be a proper run for our drivers to ensure that they go hammering it round, do everything that they can to really push and have a bit of a run. So not an ideal circumstance right now. And let's see how the drivers are going to be able to capable with this one, as we do see Byron Mitchell, who had the best of starts. Unfortunately, didn't quite work out for him. Justin Eloff leading out the pack, and now has got Yuri Swat right on the back of him. And in full race trim, we're starting to see those 43s creeping in, with Henry Mayer with a 43.8 as he got a run in. That is a bit faster than the rest of our drivers. Justin Eloff and Uriam Swat looking to go side by side through the kink. Second guess that option. Now trying to get a little bit more drive. Looks in for the inside. Backs out of it actually. Not going to go for it. Going to rather tape around and focus onto the oval and use the slipstream to pull himself along. So this is going to be a huge run for them. A little bit further back though, Luke Lucchese feeling the pressure from Ryan Ottens, and these two have done a huge battle once before, and it is going to be a monster of a drive to see how it's going to launch around. So nose to tail as they make their way through, And now it is going to be a chase right the way down. So far, we have also got Ruin de Toy, Luka Lagovic going and sitting in a little bit of no man's land. Cabello Batsamai also keeping an eye on his mirrors, as Jason could see, chasing him down. Yasemai has got a bit of a run. Henry Mayer, Noor Hendricks is in the mix as well. Bago Krubler a little bit further back, sporting a bit of damage for the hybrid racing, and now having to try and work his way through. Yasin Ishmael going and trying to claw his way back. Sergei Sarkov going and making his way around with the Mustang. Then we got Fleming Bauer in the McLaren, trying to break away from Nico Killerman, who has got a bit of company of Jean Jans van Rensburg of Team Sloan folks really on the back of him, trying to get into that slipstream and utilize every bit of power possible. Then a little bit further down, Mario Rez, Steven Kutzer, Byron Mitchell back out on track, a little bit slower down, along with Werner Skuman, who was involved in a little bit of carnage early on. Werner Swart back out on track. Daniel Rowe, who has made his return to iRacing, hasn't quite been the return he wanted, but he is still going out there. Robin Bricknick going and trying to make up some time. We saw the unfortunate contact a little bit early on. Then we have got Sean Sims a little bit further back. Florian Keller back out on circuit. Good to see him out there, followed by Sean Stratham, who's making his way through, and Gerard Vermillion, unfortunately, not making it to the grid. So Gerard Vermillion, unfortunately, out of the race on this one. And Justin Ilov starting to feel the pressure as Julian Familiaris is starting to get pulled along by his friend Yuri Umpi Swart. So this is going to be a huge run through the money. So let's see if we can try and find some of the incidents and go back a little bit and see what exactly happened during the courses of the accidents and where things started going wrong for a few drivers in round one. With a 45-minute race, you got to be so careful on where it's all going to turn out. So let's try and do a bit of working out here. And there is Sean Stratham being our first one. Yep, unfortunately, that's previous damage to his car that went and took him out of that and had him going back to the pit. So Sean Stratham not having an easy run, sporting a bit of damage on the rear of his car. And where did that all come from? Well, we'll have to try and find out a little bit later. Yuri Umpi Swart has got Julian Familiaris onto the back of him, trying to push a little bit harder at this point to gain that drive and ensure that the Mustang has got a lot of grunt. Now, the Mustang does have a serious amount of grunt to it, but it does have a slight flaw to it as well, and that is its cornering. It's got a severe amount of understeer that starts to pick up during the course of the race as the front tires start to wash out and do everything they can to just try and bring the nose towards the barriers. Unfortunately, this Mustang can be an absolutely lively one. But once you get to the oval, there is no replacement for displacement. The V8 is absolutely going and hammering it to try and make his way around. So good to see drivers doing everything they can to keep up the pace. But so far, everyone looking a little bit more comfortable. Luke Lucchesi trying to get a little bit more time underneath him as well to stay in for the fight as they make their way through. So Luke Lucchesi in the fight with Ryan Ottens. Ryan just carrying enough momentum through bus stop. Doesn't want to get a slowdown here. A little bit too far onto the left-hand side, and this has got Luke Lucchesi with a far better run. Luke Lucchesi's now going to have a great chase to make his way through. As we jump on board, you can see the angle as he dives up on the inside. Ryan Ottens, unfortunately, not able to compete in the drive, will go and yield that position for now. Maybe try for turn one as he launches to try and figure out where can he get the attack here. Ryan's going to have to get a little bit brave. He's going to have to get creative, and he dives for it. He's going for it, but unfortunately, understeer, taking him right out of it. Luke Lucchesi reclaiming that position and ensuring he can stay in for the fight nonetheless. Drivers starting to pull into the pits, getting themselves sorted and continuing on their race, which is always fantastic to see. But our current top three are now on top of one another, as we do see Justin Eloff fighting it out tooth and nail at this point with Yuri Umpi Swart, who is not backing down. Julian Familiaris licking his lips at this point, knowing that he can be in for the money as he goes and sticks in the toe and can't count out this little car here of Gianluca Fabio, who is on a proper charge. The more that they fight ahead, the better it will turn out for him. So he's going to have to very, very closely keep an eye on the fight as it stands. But it is going to be a hard charge, as we do see Tim switching out to more of our camera cams out into the grandstands. You can see how tight they have to take bus stop to really get the cars going and throw their way around as we make our way onto the large oval. And it's just incredible shots that we're getting from our drivers and seeing what they can do. Yurian Pissoir trying to keep nice and tight in the toe, pushing himself along. Can he get closer? It's going to be a hard push to get this right. Looks to the high side. Gonna go for it. Gonna break a bit earlier, maybe for the apex. No, unfortunately not. Not enough room, but he's gonna try. Put his nose in just to possibly get that rear to step out on Justin. And unfortunately, not able to do it. Justin still leading with the best lap time of the race. Having a fantastic through, but is in a serious amount of pressure as they snap left and right, fighting the cars every which way possible. It is not going to be an easy run for our top runners. A little bit further down, though, a good race going on. Robin Bricknick, who we saw having a difficult time at the start of the race, has got Daniel Rowe, a defending multinational champion in tin tops and in karting, having a go at Robin Bricknick, who has come out all the way to go and battle his way around South Africans. Werner Swart also out from Altered Carbon. And Werner Swart's actually a bit of an interesting one. His racing career didn't start out in sim. It actually started out going and doing radio-controlled kart. Daniel Rowe around the outside of Robin. I don't think it's going to be an easy one here. He's going to try, though. Max Verstappen it? Nope. I would say more like Ferrari. Couldn't quite make it stick. Has to wait it out. But there is a car coming out of pits. And this is Cabello Matsamai, who would have come out of the pits. No, it wasn't Cabello Matsamai. Was it Sean Sims? No. But we'll try and figure out who that driver was. It's just come out of the pit and may actually play into effect here, as Robin's going to be closing up at a rate of not. I don't think it'll be Bego Krobler. Yes, it is Bego Krobler. So Bego Krobler just ahead managed to do his pit stop and come out of the pits to ensure that he can stay in for the top run. So pit stops desperately needed. Let's see who's done it. So far, Marius Red, Steven Kutzer, along with Byron Mitchell. So we're seeing Steven Kutzer, Byron Mitchell, Werner Skuman, Bego Krobler, Robin Bricknick all doing the pit stop. So right until 15th position, he has not done the pit stop as yet. And Uriel Pissoir decides that he's not going to go and lose out a bit of time. Side by side, door to door, wing mirror to wing mirror. And it is going to be through the right-hander as hard onto the brakes they go. Justin not able to keep it all in check. Loses out that little bit of drive, and Yurian Pissoir now taking first place right away from him. And Julian Familiaris, who's done the fastest lap time of the race, is in for the money. And you can see Justin immediately trying to bump draft him, try and get a little bit more drive, because he knows if he can't get this pace, he's going to have a Mustang crawling all over him in a hurry at this point. Julius Familiaris is going and licking his lips, watching these two beautiful sights and sounds as we jump on board with the Mustang, as we do see a bit of side-by-side action with Justin trying to go for the outside line into the bus stop. Couldn't quite get it sorted out. Did compromise his line, and that means he is going to be easy pickings for the likes of Julian Familiaris, who went and kept it online. So difficult times for the drivers to not lose out that drive. And unfortunately, it is starting to swallow them up. And a little bit further back, Gianluca keeping an eye on the two. Luke Lucchese, on the other hand, has got Ryan Ottens and Ruin de Toy on tow and really trying to make up a little bit of time. Ryan Ottens now going up on the inside. He's going to go for the swap and try for the launch. Yurian Pissoir going and defending his position as they fight it out. Our top three having a go, and 5th, 6th, and 7th all over one another as well as they charge their way through. Great to see the drivers have not gone and lost too much time, and they've definitely shaken off that ring rust. But take a look at Gianluca, now within under a second of Julian Familiaris, and maybe an effect to go and charge after him. He can get a little bit closer, to get the advantage of that slipstream down the oval and ensure that he can put this now 3-horse race into a 4-horse race and make sure that this train is going to evolve and get bigger and bigger on their way through. But it does look like Julian Familiaris, good exit onto the oval, going to carry a lot of drive. Justin Eloff in second place, Julian Familiaris now running in third, Fabio in fourth place, Ryan Ottens currently in fifth with Luke Lucchesi on his tail. Then we have got Ruan Detoy, Luka Lagovic in 8th place, Jason Kutsi in 9th, and 10th is the likes of Yaz Samai going and battling it out in the top 10. Always great to see our drivers making their way a little bit through and seeing how it's going to go. Now, I'm very curious to see what the sector times are going to be looking like for our drivers and where is it all going to go. So take a look at Yuri Umpiswat. Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3, he was going and doing a phenomenal pace where Elof was down in those 3 sectors, was up in Sector 4, lost pace in Sector 5 on that previous run. So that is going to tell you how this race is going to develop. When we go to Elof, we would start to see now things starting to fall off. Yuri Umpiswat fastest through Sector 1, now trying to keep up the momentum through Sector 2. And you can see how close Familiaris is in time versus the likes of Elof, who's losing out that little bit of pace. So he's got to be so careful on the running order of this and how it's going to work out. Gianluca now going and getting closer and closer and becoming a viable threat for this fall. We are getting yellow flags at the moment. Sergei Sarkov going and landing into the weeds. Let's find out what happened to him. Big old Mustang onto the back of him. Well, he's in the big old Mustang trying to go up on the inside of one of the asymmetric cars. That is the 901. Oh, and a little bit of contact between himself and the 901. Not quite how you want to try and get by. Didn't quite work to plan. And we'll have to try and figure out the next plan. Noah Hendricks, unfortunately, getting that little bit of contact. That is a-okay. Through bus stop, though. Justin Elof up around the outside, gets it all hooked in, and takes first place. Yuri Umpiswat lost that little bit of drive, and now he is in for a bit of a treat with Julian Familiaris on his tail, and Gianluca Fabio going and closing up that gap. That was an absolutely phenomenal pass. Let's go quickly take a look back at that pass, side by side, heading down into the bus stop, looks on the inside, gets it hooked in, forces the likes of Yuri Umpiswat onto a tighter line, kills off that drive, and away he goes for it. Now it is going to be a 4-horse race, which these drivers are going to be dreading at this point. Justin Elof not breaking away from the train as quick as he would like. We'll suddenly have Yuri Umpiswat, Julian Familiaris, and Gianluca right behind him. So Gianluca having a great drive, gets into the toe, pulls himself along, and now let's see whether the Porsche is going to be capable for the drive here to ensure he stays into the mix. Ryan Ottens dealing with Luke Lucchesi at current, and Luke Lucchesi's not backing down, still staying with the Porsche, versus last season he stayed in the Porsche, he enjoyed it and kept on the pace. So let's see how it's all going to turn out as our drivers make their way onto the oval. Time is starting to become a little bit of an issue here. Halfway mark I would say just below the halfway mark is 20 minutes for our drivers to be able to pull into the pits. And how are they going to be making their way through? It's going to always be a difficult time. Who's going to pit? Who's not going to pit? When are you going to pit? Take a look at when some of the drivers actually got into the pits. It was lap 1 for the likes of Steven Kutzer with a bit of damage. The latest of the drivers that pitted was Nico Kilman. Lap 7, he got into the pits to ensure that he stays in for the fight here. So let's keep an eye out on that and see how our drivers are going to be able to make their way through. Because 14 drivers still have not done the mandatory pit stop that is needed to ensure that they are going. And that means fuel and tires need to be put on those cars rather swiftly to ensure that they stay in for the mix. Justin Elof, defensive driving into turn 1, holds that inside line, stops dead on the apex, forcing Yuri Umpiswat to battle a little bit. You can see the Acura NSX going and sliding its way around as he gets onto the power. Low TC on that car, and you don't want to go and be pushing it too hard and getting out of those turbo ranges. You need to try and keep it going and ensure that you stay within that power band. Otherwise, if you drop below it, you are easy pickings for the naturally aspirated motors. You do heavily rely on those turbos firing up and really getting you going towards the sharp end of the field. Not an easy time for everyone out there. So, as our drivers make their way around the circuit, still keeping it together, it is going to be a great drive for them, but it's who's going to pull the trigger first on the pit stops. Ryan Otten's having that exact same problem with Luke Lucchese and Ruan de Toy closely on his heels, making sure he can stay in for the fight. He has Samai, who is in the top 10 currently, chasing down Jason Coetzee just ahead of him, and Henry Mayer, who had a problem off the start of the race. We did see that Chevy go absolutely flying. Chevy went to the levee, and the levee was totally dry at that point, and the drivers having to make their way around there. So it's going to be a very, very hard drive for them all. It does look like Jurien Pissoir lost a little bit of drive going through the likes of bus stop, and that has now freed up Justin Eloff to break away from the field and ensure he can stay in. It does look like Jurien Pissoir pulls into the pits, so he's pulling into the pits to get it sorted out. That does promote Gianluca, Ryan Ottens, Luke Lucchese, Ruan de Toy all up in position. So is Julian Familiaris, who's going to try and stretch it out. We do know the Porsches can run with about 110 litres. I think it's 100 or 110 litres. The Acuras are 112 litres in the tank, but they do naturally use a little bit more fuel around this circuit versus the others. So, going to be an interesting one. Car picks definitely making a big decision here. And a lot of drivers just trying to keep it all together because they have been testing on each of the different circuits that we will be racing this season to ensure that they have got a car capable of it all. Werner Schumann, on the other hand, the Pandacity driver, losing out to Robin Bricknick, who is launching his way through, gets himself slotted in. Werner Schumann now going to go and be an angry panda, and utilizing the power of Lightning McQueen is going to go ka-chow around the outside. Can he get it all locked in? With that little bit of rusties, it's going to be a bit tight. Is it going to be ka-chow or is it going to be ka-chigga? Well, it does look like it's going to be the Chick Hicks style to go and beat out the Lightning McQueen. Robin doing a fantastic job there. Looks into the inside, hooked it in, got it sorted out, and powered his way through. So Robin, all the way out from the Netherlands, showing off what he can do to ensure he stays in with the fight. Always a grand time, nonetheless, for our drivers pushing themselves that little bit more and ensuring that they stay in the mix at the moment. Hard on the brakes, trying to make their way through, as we do see a bit of a lunge from Werner Schumann, trying to get that little bit closer to see if he can stay in for the fight. Luke Lucchese now on the charge, who's the Ducey Ruan de Toy pulling into the pits, so he's trying to serve that pit stop to get it out of the way, late onto the anchors, trying to throw the car in on the inside. Ryan Ottens and Luke Lucchese have fought it out very, very much in the past, and ensuring that they will keep going nonetheless. And how are they going to get that climb? That is where the questions are going to be. How many people are going to be able to launch their way through? No, a couple of people will be asking about iRatings of that. Well, let's quickly bring up that, because it's always nice and curious to see what our driver iRatings are. Well, at the moment, your leader of the field is running with a 3K iRating, and that's how it's all going at the moment to have a bit of fun. So if you had to think about a strength of field, which that also does lead into what would be the strength of field, how is it all going to go? Well, the strength of field at the moment is a 2.4K iRating in our pros that are running at the moment. Always great to see, always fantastic to see our drivers really going and pushing themselves that little bit more and ensuring that they can stay in for the fight. So, a couple of drivers pulling into the pits. Sergei Sarkov, Noah Hendricks, Mario Rez pulling into the pits, getting themselves done and dusted to ensure that they can get that mandatory pit stop out of the way and stay in for the mix at this point, as we do see Luke Lucchese dropping off the pace a little bit. A little bit further down, though, Fleming Bauer in 18th position. He's all over the back of Daniel Rowe. It's been a while since these two have gone and crossed swords. Last time was in a Assetto Corsa Competizione that these two went and crossed swords with one another, and it ended up with Daniel Rowe getting the win over him. Well, Werner Swart looking to also join that battle. It's not going to be just one, it's a triple threat match going and fighting it out as the drivers make their way through. As we do see Gianluca Fabio, Justin Elof, and Luka Lagovic all pulling into the pits to serve their mandatory pit stop at this current moment to get it all out of the way and ensure they can carry on the rest of the pace. A little bit of a later pit stop, but it will come into a big run towards the end of how much you can carry. So, looking at the pit stops at the moment, our top 5 have not pitted once this race. So, Julian Familiaris, Ryan Ottens, Luke Lucchesi, and Jason Coetzee, along with Henry Mayer, have not done their pit stops. Julian Familiaris going a little bit more. He's got 6 seconds to play with here. Ryan Ottens has got a little less than that, as he's only got 0.2 of a second as Luke Lucchesi's hot on the heels. Jason Coetzee 10 seconds back from them, and then Henry Mayer 1.7 seconds back from that. This is a difficult run and difficult planning for our drivers to ensure that they stay in for the run, as we do see a battle of Begor Grobler. Johan Begor Grobler versus Robin Brignick, who is on a absolute stellar charge at the moment, trying to bring his way back through the field, and it's going to be a proper run through it all. And we do have some very interesting guests joining us in the virtual grandstands. If my eyes don't deceive me, and looking through the binoculars, we do have a driver that has been around for quite some time, and for many people that don't know, actually is helping out with some overseas teams going and fighting for championships, and that is Alec Ilson out there. So Alec, good to see you out there, coming back and taking a look at local motorsport out on the track. Good to see you out there, and looking forward to you actually climbing back in a rig. Ryan Ottens now leads the pack with Luke Lucchesi in second place, charging on as they make their way through. A couple of more stops coming in, and now it is only our top 3. Ryan Ottens, Luke Lucchesi, and Jason Coetzee are on the charge. Now, many people will be looking towards the sky. What is it going to be? Well, taking a look at our weather, there is no rain going to be coming through. Well, it's highly unlikely. It might with 29%, but it is a bit far off at the moment to be able to do anything. The wind is not coming into a major effect at current, so we are going to see a bit more of a dry race. Track is starting to cool down, and that is going to play into what your tire temps are going to be. You can see the sun starting to set, and that will be coming into effect as you're on the oval. That sunset right before bus stop does get into your eyes and makes life a little bit more difficult through it all. So interesting stuff nonetheless. But a fight out for position overall would be Julian Familiaris and Justin Elof. Now, Justin Elof was one of the later pit stops to make it work versus the likes of Yuriumpi Swart, but Julian Familiaris did pit a little bit later than him, so he's going and pushing himself out a little bit more to ensure he can stay in for the fight. Nonetheless, it is going to be a difficult run for the drivers to ensure that they stay in for the mix and can really start to identify the times, because Justin Elof pitted on lap 14, and it does look like the undercut worked, but not as much as he would like, as he's currently got lap 15, who's got a little bit newer tires, Julian Familiaris, currently running in close tow. So it's going to be an interesting fight between them. Still an ongoing fight, though. These two, Ryan Ottens, Luke Lucchesi, going and booking it around the track like there is no tomorrow at the moment, and it doesn't look like they're going to plan to pit stop anytime soon. Sergei Sarkov has now caught back up to Noah Hendricks, 18th and 19th place, as they make their way through, and Sergei hoping to get past a little bit easier this time after he had a little bit of a spin after a bit of a light contact with Noah Hendricks. So always a great one for the drivers to battle their way through. Side by side they go. Sergei Sarkov going to go around the outside. Is it going to be enough for him, though? Launches his way through, and is it going to be hard on the anchors to get that Mustang pulling in? Understeer going to creep in a little bit. Yep, it does. Tries to go for underneath Noah Hendricks, but that Ferrari 296 GT3, just having the legs on him, is able to keep up that pace. So absolutely well done on that part. Just a little bit further up the road, though, Daniel Rowe currently running in 15th position, going and dropping down with Fleming Bauer getting the pass done and dusted both Ryan Ottens and Luke Lucchese pull into the pits and now move their way up. Jason Coetzee will now take third place and continue on the drive with that Ferrari 296 and lead out the pack by the looks of it. Yes, he will. And Justin Eloff now will inherit second place. Julian Familiaris in third. But where is Luke Lucchese and Ryan Ottens going to come out of the pits? It is going to be a difficult time for them to ensure that they get ahead of the pack. Are they going to still sit in the top 5? That is the question. Is it going to be enough? Because Yurion Piswart's catching up at a rate of knots. So far, Justin Eloff, Julian Familiaris have gone by. Yurion Piswart comes by. We just see in shot Ryan Ottens and Luke Lucchese just coming out of pits. But they will fall behind Gianluca as Gianluca Fabio battles his way through, nails it past Ryan Ottens, now getting off the power. Well, if the pit limiter gets onto the power and gets himself going, Luke Lucchese in 7th. Byron Mitchell will chase him down, and he was a little bit off the mark, and we did see him with a bit of damage at the start of the race, catching his nose against a couple of the drivers into turn 1, losing the rear, and that was pretty much that. He is now playing a bit of a recovery game, but down the field we go. Jean-Jens van Rensburg under pressure, well trying to put pressure. Fleming Bauer just ahead of him. Daniel Rowe lost out of position, and Werner Swart going and staying in for the fight. He's really leaning into it to get on that power as early as possible and ensure that McLaren is going to really wind itself up into the back of that Porsche 992 GT3R of Daniel Rowe while he chases down the Rexy Porsche of Jean-Jens van Rensburg. And just ahead of him is Fleming Bauer going and showing off to the Logistical Nightmare Racing team of why exactly he was called a Martian at one point. Oh no, we do see Van Rensburg, he's lost it. He's lost the rear, and that was all she wrote. Let's quickly go back and try and take a look what happened to Jean-Jens van Rensburg. So it's going to be hard onto the anchors. Oh, it just clipped the dirt. A little touch from the likes of Rowe behind. It spun him around. He's able to get the car going, but the tires are going to be cooked on that last one there. Not ideal circumstances, but is trying to make up a bit of time. Good to see that he is going and rejoining with no damage other than the tires absolutely taking a beating out there. The grandstand's coming alive, and it's electric out here in Daytona, and the drivers are showing off what they can do. Remember, these drivers have not only just doing the Daytona here at Raceface.Pro, the most important one, but they did do the Daytona 24 this previous weekend, and some of them have gone and done quite a few other races, doing the Raw before the 24, the Majors Raw before the 24, the Apex Raw before the 24. I mean, they have had more than enough time on Daytona to keep themselves going. Oh, another yellow flag. That is Florin Killer, who's landed up into the weeds there. So what happened to Florin Killer of the NJB performance in the Mustang? Did he also put a wheel wrong? Goes under braking, and oh, the rear just snapped out underneath him. That was pretty much what's happened, and unfortunately not having an easy time out there. Julian Familiaris putting in a huge chase up against Justin Eloff at the moment as they fight their way through for that second place, going and launching their way through and seeing where it's all going to come out at this point. Noah Hendricks also making a little bit of a charge as we do see drivers starting to jump up and down, trying to see what they can do to ensure that the race keeps going. 29 cars are currently still out on track, but we do have a bit of a problem of drivers not giving an inch, and there can only be one winner. There can only be one charging forward. Well, Ruan de Toy, unfortunately, did not have that moment. So Ruan de Toy trying to make his way through. Oh, where on earth were you going, my friend? Did he forget where the course went? That was a big scare, and it looks like he unfortunately had a bit of a problem that took him out of the race. De Toy now retiring out of the race. Not ideal circumstances for him, and is now needing to try and hopefully the team can put that car back together. Whatever's gone on, start isolating the problem and get that car back out on circuit, as there's still time to make his way through the race and score valuable points. Now, throughout the championship, they do have 2 drop rounds to play with here, but you really want to save those until the last for that one bad race. So ensure that you try and get it across the line as much as possible to be part of the mix. Beggar Krobler and Robin Bricknick going and fighting it out. Robin doing a phenomenal job to keep the pressure on. Beggar Krobler, who has been on a hot charge at the moment, putting more time towards the likes of iRacing over the Sette Corsa Competizione, has really pulled his punches in the past. This time, he's looking to try and go for that top 10. And at the moment, Robin on the back of him, all the way out from the Netherlands, going and showing the South Africans how it's done to stay in for the fight. Sergei Sarkov a little bit further back, also trying to make his climb back through the order as we start taking a look at some of the battles here. Julian Familiaris, Justin Earloff are in a nice little scuffle with one another. Beggar Krobler going and keeping on with the fight will be with Robin. As you can see, Robin now closing up at a rate of knots, looking right behind him. How's this going to work, though? It's going to be really keeping the pressure on, and it does look like Robin's going to try go for the inside line. It's going to be a huge risk. Goes up high, tries to keep it all together. Beggar Krobler holds that inside line and really keeps it tight. Drops a gear down to ensure that he stays in for the fight. And Robin keeping all the pressure on the back of him. Looks to the left-hand side. It's going to be difficult around the outside. Lots of marbles there. Tries to do a little bit of a cutback. Can he keep it going and get that screaming V10 of the Audi R8 Evo going and ensuring it stays in for the mix. Late under braking, just not able to get it going. Not so comfortable to just get that car to brake that tad little bit more. He's a little bit uncertain about it. Rather waits it out and is going to utilize. It tells me he's got a lot of top end on the car. Flattened out those wings. Hasn't got a huge amount of grip. But where Bego's got a little bit more, maybe a touch on the wing. Seems to be a little bit slower in the straight line, but is helping him out through the infield to keep alive and keep going. We did see Robin have a little bit of a jump out when he was trying to get the power on as they went on to the oval. Unfortunately, that change of camber can cause the car to bottom out ever so slightly, so you've got to be very, very careful on that charge. So back up towards the sharp end of the field, Julian Familiaris closed up at a rate of knots to Justin Earloff. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get it. Justin clipping the dirt on the left-hand side. And with the new tire models and new environment models, every time these drivers clip the dirt and throw it back out on track, it will make it all dirty. It's not fixed. So you will have dirt constantly moving around the track. So finding that clean line is always a difficult one nonetheless. Luke Lucchesi and Ryan Otson still going at it after they got out of the pits. They're chasing down Gianluca Fabio, who's a little bit more up the road from them. Got a little bit of a challenge to get past one of the McLarens, and that would most probably be Fleming Bauer in 14th position. That's up the road from him. Nope, that's not Fleming Bauer. That was actually up from the road from him. Interesting stuff. That must be Sean Stradham after his bit of mistake. Yep, no, that was Sean Stradham. That's just up the road from them. So Luke Lucchesi is going to try and utilize the tow coming off the back of Sean Stradham's car to stay in for the mix. Julian Familiaris still putting in a great charge at the moment and ensuring he can stay in for the mix. It's going to be a bit of a hard working run here as they make their way up onto the oval. We're going to go to our gyro cam to try and keep things nice and stable as they go around the oval. It's very, very tight embankment at the moment for the drivers, and they're going to have to see how it all works out. We are getting yellow flags for Yasin Ismail at this point, and what has happened to him? So Yasin has done well, and a little bit of blinky out of existence there. Went out wide, clipped the dirt, and into the wall she goes. That is a Ferrari with a very broken nose. Not ideal circumstances and not the way they wanted to go. As we join back with Julian Familiaris as he closes up the gap between himself and the likes of Justin Earloff at the moment, keeping so close to one another, ensuring that they can stay in for the mix. It's going to be a huge, huge run for him to ensure that he sticks on by. How close Can he get it all together? So far in sector times, Ilov has been a little bit quicker, but Yurian Pissoir, sector 1, matching Ilov's times to ensure he stays in for the fight there. A little bit of a position needed to get round a back marker, as we do see a bit of a tank zap coming in from Julian Familiaris as he keeps on to the back of the likes of Justin Ilov. He's not going to back down from this one. He's going to ensure he stays in for the fight. How is it going to go? Who's going to be able to get that little bit of a give as they battle their way through? Now Justin Ilov going to not make it easy as we jump on board this sort of gearbox of that Porsche, making a very, very tight line through the track cut. That sun starting to set and becoming a problem. The Mustang looking quite aggressive behind him and still keeping up a great run as they launch their way through. Back markers mining out the way. Very, very well done. Got to say a huge, huge thank you to all our back markers of blue flags that do give a little bit of room. Don't want to compromise their race too much, but that little bit of give does help them out to try and get the leaders through and ensure that they stay in for the fight. So while our leaders keeping nice and close to one another, let's go a little bit further down. Sean Sims going and fighting it out with Nico Killerman just ahead of him. So Nico Killerman going and finding his way through is in the Jotech Simworks Racing, as he's got the likes of Sean Sims of Team Slowpoke Racing closing up. Very interesting to see, and something we do like to touch on every so often. The likes of Jotech Sim Racing Simworks is a company that supplies sim racing gear here in South Africa. So is EG Evolved. Both of them jumping on board, coming and being a part of sim racing here in South Africa to ensure that they can be part of the fun and going and supporting the different teams, where the likes of Nico Killerman, I think, is the only Jotech Simworks driver racing in iRacing currently. I stand to be corrected, but I think that's the only driver that I've seen with the race, with that company on board with him as a full production sponsor. Julian Familiaris closing up that gap at a rate of knot. Looks for the inside, couldn't quite go for it. Late on the anchors, making their way through. Familiaris just trying to get that Mustang to be a little bit more complacent through the corners, and now starting to close up the gap and doing everything he can. Is it gonna be enough though? It's gonna have to be a huge charge to make it work, as our drivers will look to push themselves that little bit more. Can he get it going? Nose to tail on the back of the car, really trying to get it all sorted. Gonna go late on the anchors, just couldn't get it all into the corner quick enough, and unfortunately lost out that little bit of time. So far the car's doing a fantastic job. So far the quickest on circuit is Luke Lucchesi Luke Lucchesi did the best top speed of the entire race at 301 kilometers an hour before hitting the anchors here at a beautiful, beautiful circuit of Daytona. As we keep an eye on some of these battles happening out. 17th position, Sergei Sarkov going to go side by side with Noah Hendricks. It is Sergei keeping it all together. The little cat busy meowing at the side of the Asymmetric Racing team. And Noah Hendricks going to go braking a little bit later. Does drag the brakes a little bit later and gets it in. Can he keep it all together? The Ferrari 296 just battling, jumping over the curbs. Sergei going to go side by side. Beautifully done. Usually we see door-to-door contact. That is two going three corners. They were side by side between one another. That is incredible work from our drivers, and absolutely hats off to them to get it all sorted out. Tristan de Norbrigger, who's usually walking around the pits, going and ensuring the drivers are all okay. He is battling and keeping an eye and supporting the drivers. He's battling to choose which of his mates he's going to be going and supporting at this point. And yes, Niall, you did hear me right, because I'm seeing these comments getting sent through from the virtual grandstand. Did he say 301 kph? Yes, I did. And that is incredible, to flatten out a Porsche enough to get into turn one at 301 kilometers an hour. That is huge to get it sorted out in a GT3. But that tells me he's got no error on that car and is definitely fighting it out We are seeing drivers battle out, but we do have a yellow flag, and this is Sean Sims. What happened to Sean Sims? He was keeping it all together, side by side, and did the slow poke. Oh no, the rear just decides to kick out, and that Audi is bent. That is a bent ring, and unfortunately not going to work out for him. So definitely some difficult time in racing here for a lot of our drivers who are fighting it out and doing the best that they can. 16th and 17th, Sergei Sarkov going and getting the position over Noah Hendricks on the inside. Has he done it? Has he finally done it? He's done it, and it has only taken him half the race to get past Noah Hendricks. And Sergei Sarkov will now be fighting it out. Justin Eloff leads out the pack in first place, and Julian Familiaris in second. This is a fight for the overall. Is it gonna be enough? And Julian Familiaris is in the tow. 0.1 of a second. It is a huge, huge chase. Is it gonna be a monster one? Julian Familiaris goes high line. He goes low line. He's trying to pull out of the tow a little bit too early there. Closing. And across the line, it is gonna be Justin Eloff. Gets in by 0.067 as they come across the line. Yuri Swart in third place. Gianluca Fabio on debut outing in that top 5, getting 4th place, followed by Luke Lucchesi, ahead of Ryan Ottens, Byron Mitchell. Luka Logovic is going to come across the line in 8th. Henry Mayer, after a hard-fought fight, gets across in 9th with Jason Kutsi, 0.1 of a second right behind him in that top 10. Bego Krobler will be coming across in 11th with Ruben Brugnik. Werner Skuman comes across the line. Fleming Bauer will be launching his way through. Werner Swart goes and keeps it ahead of Sergei Sarkov, who finally breaks the camel's back and gets ahead of Noah Hendricks. Jean Jans van Rensburg comes across the line and gets 18th position. Daniel Rowe will finish up in 19th position. Steven Kutzer right behind him in 20th. Unless there's a bit of a change here. I don't think so. He's going to try. Low apron. And nope, wasn't close enough to make it stick. Nico Killerman taking 21st, and 22nd goes to Sean Sims. Followed by Mario Rez, Sean Stratham, Florian Killer, Cabello Matsumai, Yasin as well, Ruben Detroit, Yaz Samai, and that was our 29 cars. But what a race from our drivers. What a stunning run nonetheless. And wow, oh wow. That was some proper green flag racing from our drivers here tonight. And absolutely stellar run nonetheless from every single one of our drivers. So let's quickly go and take a bit of a look back to our green flag conditions, as we will be having our drivers coming through and enjoying some chats with us. Going off to our race results though, it is Yuri Umpiswat, Gianluca Fabio goes, sorry, that is our qualifying. Don't want that. I want our likes of our race, thank you. So Justin Eloff takes the win with Julian Familiaris, Yuri Umpiswat, Gianluca Fabio, Luke Lucchesi, Ryan Ottens, Byron Mitchell, Luka Logovic, Henry Mayer, Jason Kutsi, Bego Krubler, Robin Boganek, along with Werner Swart, Fleming Bauer, Werner Swart, Sergei Sarkov, Noah Hendricks, Jean Jans van Rensburg, Daniel Rowe, Steven Kutzer in 20th position. A little bit further down from that, we have got the likes of Sean Sims, Mario Rez, Sean Stratham, Florian Killer, Cabela Matsumai, Yasin Ismail, Rune Toy, Yaz Samai, and Gerard Vermillion going and rounding out our pack for our Pro Division for round 1. What a race, folks. What a time, and what a bit of excitement from our drivers. Let's see if we can have a bit of a chat to our drivers. And first one, I would think, under pixelated, that might be Justin Eloff that's going to be coming into the commentary box to have a chat with us. So let's bring him in. Justin Eloff, welcome to the commentary box, and what a race nonetheless. You had to fight it out there, and it came down to the wire of 0.6 of a second with Julian Familiaris right on your tail. How are you feeling?
I'm pretty fucking hyped, man.
I mean, that was an incredible run from your side, and drivers really had to push a bit hard. Take us through the start of the race where suddenly Byron Mitchell, out of nowhere, pushes his way through. You now trying to focus in on your charge to ensure you stay in for the mix here. I mean, take us through the race for you.
Well, it's hard to collect all my thoughts now, but basically, I just wanted to stay alive through T1. Believe it or not, that's my goal. But when I saw, I think it was a Merc or something, go down the left-hand side, I thought I'd follow him through. Yeah, and then that pretty much was that. I think he ran wide somewhere. I don't even remember how I got past him, but oh, I dove him into turn one. Yeah, yeah. Not sure what happened behind me. I saw a bit of loss of control or something. But yeah, from there I was just trying to break the toe. The toe on this track is insane.
Well, it was absolutely a great stuff. And I mean, take us through that last lap run. I mean, that was nail biting all the way through. And suddenly the last lap, it was one big Mustang going exploring all over the back of you.
Yeah, so I saw him make a small mistake into turn 3 or 4, I don't remember, and I saw that I had a bit of a gap. And for a moment I thought, okay, cool. He hasn't been able to close up the whole race to the finish line. I should be okay. And then I screwed up my run onto the oval. And then I broke a bit deep for the bus stop. And I just, do what iRacers do. I just took the off track on the exit just to keep a bit of speed. And yeah, luckily I left my wing in the garage, so I stayed ahead.
Oh, absolutely incredible stuff. And the entire virtual grandstands was going absolutely wild. Well, this is one of the best ways to kick off the season. And considering you're coming in, you're trying to fight it out with the pros, making a bit of a debut run here, is there anything you would like to say to any of your sponsors or friends, family, even to those that are sitting on the sidelines going and cheering you on, being a part of the show?
No, I don't want to thank any of them. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I have a few friends and family watching right now. And I'm just glad I didn't crash this time. So it's pretty much it. Thanks for supporting me, and hopefully I can stay consistent.
Almost certainly the case. You definitely opened up a few eyes, and it is going to be the next charge down to the wire nonetheless. But absolutely fantastic job from your part, and some great racing. We're looking forward to seeing what you can do. Are you planning to race next week with our BMW M2s and our likes of our V8 supercars?
Well, now I have a pretty hectic league racing schedule, so I'll probably stick to the GT3s for now. I hesitate to say I think Daytona was a bit of a one-off due to the 24-hour, so I've had a lot of practice. But we'll see. We'll see where I can partake and how deep I can run.
Well, it's absolutely a great stuff. Now you're leading the championship. Let's see how you're going to do, because 2 weeks' time we head out to Mount Panorama, and looking forward to seeing how the Porsche is going to handle there. But absolutely great stuff, and congratulations once again on such a stellar drive.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely incredible to have a chat to the drivers and get a bit of insight on doing, and you can hear the excitement, but also controlled excitement at the same time. You don't want to get too wild on the microphone. Wait until it gets off the microphone, then the party kicks in. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that does bring us to the end of tonight's festivities, and we have been having a great time here in the commentary box. It's going to be an exciting time. Unfortunately, we don't have any other commentary guys coming up and having a chat to us, so that's a bit unfortunate. But that being said, thank you so much for joining us this evening and being a part of the show. It's been an absolute honor to have you here at the Raceface.Pro iRacing GT3 Pro Division Season 3. This is round 1. 2 weeks' time, we will be heading to the track of Mount Panorama to see all the carnage and all the fun that can come from it. Big shout out to our partners here at Raceface.Pro, the likes of Scallywags Drifting Academy and Red Star Raceway being a part of our show. Next week, we will be going and jumping in to some multi-class action, some Gen 3 supercars. How's that? New Chevy and new Ford. and bringing in the BMW M2. It is Goliath versus the Giant, and let's see how David versus Goliath, that's the way you call it. So we're going to see how it all turns out in next week's race. Make sure you tune in, be a part of the show, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell notification icon. Let us know what was your favorite part of the race. Where did it all go for you and your excitement, and what's coming up next? Make sure you also head to Raceface.Pro out on Simgrid. Go and take a look. We have a multitude of races happening. Currently, our summer league for our Assetto Corsa fans out there. We do have LMU going and racing around as well, our Le Mans Ultimate, so feel free to join in that, be a part of the show. If that's got enough love, well, we may be seeing it coming to our channel very, very soon, but only you can make that happen. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for joining us. My name is Stephen Koenig, and we'll see you next time